I am a member of an elite family who you despise. Ask me a question and I will answer them in short. Why? Because I can.
All of the questions our guest will be answering were submitted on the internet form godlikeproductions.com. Let's begin. What's an elite family?
That's how most are calling it. Families who for a long time have been ruling the people who are not from these bloodlines.
What's your thoughts on peak oil?
It is known within certain circles that it is manufactured. The earth is producing more oil and gas than is being used now even. Believe it or not, it is a natural process. Quote, the more you take, the more it produces to balance itself. Study the bees and the way they produce honey and you will understand. On top of that, there are many places with large amounts of natural resources which never have been touched. The agenda? I think you know.
What commonalities do the bloodlines share?
Understand that, quote, bloodlines have been chosen to rule. It didn't just appear out of air. The souls which incarnate into these bloodlines who rule are picked by divine law. Other things don't have to be mentioned.
No one rules me. Never has.
A little old saying, the perfect slave is the one that says, I am not a slave. It is like an alcoholic saying he isn't an alcoholic, so therefore he will always be an alcoholic. Get my drift?
Where do you elites store your mentally ill relatives caused by centuries of inbreeding?
It is a myth that inbreeding always causes problems. If the two persons who procreate carry genes which are of better quality than the rest,
why have you allowed us to breed like rats if population is what you feel threatens you?
Number one, we haven't allowed that. You have more power than you think you have. Number two, population does not threaten, quote, as in any way, shape or form. Again, a myth.
I am curious what a member of an elite family thinks of godlikeproductions.com. So what do you think?
The more divided people are, the easier it is to rule over them. Making them believe they have a sword in their hand which they think makes them powerful and able to fight the quote dark sider, while it is just a toothpick. You have to be very careful who you give that imaginary sword to. Do you know that not just spoken words but also written words emanate a frequency which have a direct effect? And I would say that a vast majority of the written words on godlikeproductions.com are not helping the cause you think you are fighting for.
What is your religious affiliation?
Religion is created by us. The religions which rule now are the ones that are under total control. I can't give out too much about this, but Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism are a bit off, let's say. There is a core of truth, but it is drowning in a sea of perversions for you to pick out. Good luck. What we believe in does not matter, but it is about serving the divine law which was passed on to us.
How about the world economy?
One thing conspiracy theorists are right about is that it is based on money that doesn't exist, never existed, never will. The ones who own the banks also own the media and politics, so it can be portrayed the way they want you to believe it.
When will the wheat be separated from the chaff? Or do you want to get rid of the wheat and leave the chaff for your slaves? Whichever, when will it happen? I'm tired of false dates, please be honest this time.
I know 100% sure there is no end time, at least not like it is being portrayed everywhere, be it religion, media, etc. This place was never meant to end the way it is being described. There will be a time when everyone will be released, but that is not a mass event, but rather one by one, work on yourself.
I'm curious to know why the elite do not lead. They seem to be more of a parasite on society.
A fish in the ocean can't see that birds are flying in the sky.
Have you or any of your family members ever participated in an occult ritual, and, if yes, what was the nature of it?
Rituals have a meaning which cannot be understood by most. Rituals are there to connect with the higher beings who govern this realm. We are doing our job.
Well, I'd have to say your divine law has messed up this planet and its people very well.
Peasants like you don't understand that you do it. Nobody else. By the way, by what you just said, you lengthened your stay here on Earth one more lifetime. My condolences.
Do you frequent the Bohemian Grove and fully participate in cremation of care sacrifice to Moloch, having sex with male homosexual prostitutes, orgies, etc.?
Those and other similar places are for the politicians and media people. They are obligated. Sometimes a bloodline will be present but will not participate in those acts which are not the rituals we do.
Do you consider the prevalence and success of organized crime families and syndicates as a massive failure of your collective will?
They are there for a reason. They aren't as successful as they look, though. They are broken.
Why do you continue to attempt to control mass consciousness by spreading fear through every outlet available to you? Why not set the knowledge free as was intended long ago? The written word is spreading the wings of truth. The sword has been given to the sheep, and the day of reckoning is soon at hand. I believe in no law of divinity or hierarchy. We are all equal unto the eyes of the Creator, and for that must you answer in your time. The meek are inheriting the earth presently. I pray for you.
If that was the aim, it would be done in an instant. You do not understand what this world we live in really is.
This time I have no question. I do, however, have a statement. The time of reckoning is at hand.
It is not.
It goes. The best slave is one who thinks he is free. Is it ultimately all a matter of genes? Do you understand self-cloning? Do you agree that the planet is replete with false allies and false enemies?
That's not how it originally goes. About the slave. If you listen carefully, you will see. Last question has a yes as an answer. There are also no real allies or enemies.
If you are indeed doing what you say you are, then you will know that you and your ilk are in big trouble. Your time is short, and those you belong to who are in our space quadrant as we speak already know it. I imagine they are a tad busy right at this moment. But of course you must keep up appearances even when you know you fight a losing battle. Personally, I will be very happy to see the day, and it is coming sooner than you think.
There is no end of time. A long time ago, the people did almost manage to take over, and then bad things happened on Earth to those people. What are you seeing now? Are you really living on the planet you think you are?
The quote higher beings who govern this realm, do you serve them? By what names do you call them? Have you ever seen them? Where do they reside?
They penetrate everything and they are benevolent.
What really hit the Pentagon on 9/11?
Does it matter what hit it?
Too much question dodging.
I did not sign a contract which says I have to answer everything. Some questions do not need an answer and others do not mean a thing even though you think it does. How strange that some of you who talk about love, might, and peace are the ones who 2 sentences later cuss and talk about murdering others, smirking about it being soon. Are you sure you are on the quote good side? For the ones who are a bit smarter than that, ask away. I will answer the way I choose to. Before you ask the question, force yourself to think outside the box that was created for you by others. Ask a real question that you thought about, formulate it in detail. For the others, if you could leave out cussing, hate, bigotry, and prejudice which is based on your guru's amazing wisdom, it would show you are a bit more evolved from the peasant stage. I will not answer all questions, sometimes because it is obvious if you think about it or parts of it have been answered, other times because I do not have the obligation to do so.
So is Bill Gates more elite than you? How about Queen Elizabeth? Are you one Arab? Can't you control the oil instead of the Arabs?
The ones you know the names of are not true bloodlines like you have been taught by theorists. They are not the ones who write the symphony, neither conduct it. The ones you mentioned and other known names merely play the violin or cello when they are told to, the way they are told to. It does not matter what race I am, has no effect on anything. Oil is already under full control like all natural resources.
Why does visualization work?
It does not work for everybody. You have to reach a certain stage in your development. This means living by strict rules, applying them to everything you do in life, in detail. Most humans do not have the discipline nor temperance to achieve that stage. Some here talk like they can, but I know even without knowing anything about their lives that they are further away from it than they think. Quote, visualization works because it is an essential way of the creational process in this material universe. The universe is a living entity who uses its mind to create, and the beings created from that may have that same power too within their boundaries.
Now the question is, who is using David Icke? And better question, why?
David Icke has a core of truth he is trying to pass. What he does not realize is that this actually works against him. The reptilian part was fed him by the ones who worked for the bloodlines. In a period of 7-8 months he was bombarded with, quote, victims who witnessed shape-shifting, satanic rituals, etc. in such a way he could not refuse to not believe it. Sometimes the, quote, witnesses were led to him a few times a day, depending on his location. Others, like David Icke, and there are more than you think, have been fed similar stories. Really, I am not reptilian. The answer why does not have to be answered.
Are you part of the Divine Brotherhood? Are you me? Are you he who manipulates the Matrix? Inquiring minds want to know, 'cause I'm thoroughly confused. You say we despise you, but I could not imagine despising any being from the divine realms. Then you act like you're part of the, quote, elite bloodline on Earth, but what would bloodlines have to do with the spiritual world? Again, I'm confused. Could you clarify? Just what is the elite of whom you say we despise, and yet who apparently has all the inside scoop?
You are confused, for you have accepted the other versions of the, quote, truth, and you think you have a sight of the big picture, but what I say dismisses huge parts of it. There is a misconception about bloodlines. Obviously, the questions that are being asked here prove that. But there is a reason for that, and it serves an important purpose. We manipulate this world only as far as we are allowed to by the divine law. We provide you with tools, and then it is up to you to determine how you use it. Tools can be used in a malicious way, but no one is forcing you to use them that way. You are choosing yourself. So despising the ones who provide you with the tool that you voluntarily chose to, quote, sin with is about your trying to camouflage your tracks. You get what you deserve. That is how this universe works. We do our duty, so do yours.
There is a very old saying, unrecorded in open history, quote, the devil doesn't know he's the devil. He thinks he's God.
Wrong. It actually states that humans who worship the, quote, bad think they worship the, quote, good.
Earlier you said, quote, you do not understand what this world we live in really is. Care to elaborate on this statement?
Only if you formulate the question and understand that certain questions need to be answered by yourself only, not others. Otherwise they have no purpose.
I'm not coming back to your planet next time. Smoke on that.
What gave you the impression that when that time comes, you have a say in that?
What is the reason that your people came to this planet?
Almost the same reason you came.
Now, what, quote, elite family does anyone know well enough to, quote, despise? W, is that you?
To clear this up once and for all, the Bushes are not bloodline. In fact, they are your kind who wanted to be worshipped by your kind. I will sum it up again in short, the ones that have known faces and names are not directly bloodline. They are not the composers or conductors, they just play the flute the way they are told to. Bushes, Clintons, Sharons, Arafats, Hitlers, Dalai Lamas, Mandelas, Blairs, Gores, Chavezes, Gandhis, Kennedys, Leonards, Dylans, Einsteins, Michelangelos, Popes, Caesars, Aristotles, Herodotus, Akhenaten's. They all play or played their part the way they are, or were told to. These people who love recognition and praise of your kind would not be allowed to be in the same room with some people I am related to.
The following message is from godlikeproductions.com's owner. Rather than give them a sword or a toothpick, I give them a canvas and a pen. The words as you say have vibration and effect. And though yes, many that are written here are contrary to the one, some ring true. It is those few that matter most. I was recently asked by a friend of mine, what do you do when you have mastered the game? This seems like a question that would apply to one in your situation as well. My answer was, save as many as you can. I am curious to know, what is yours?
If it has an immediate effect, it is not a canvas and a pen anymore, but a sword. An imaginary one, but nonetheless a sword. And it is not working the way you think it does. You say most are contrary to the one, and that is true. In fact, almost all is contrary. But you say because of the few that ring, quote, true, it is worth it. You cannot have two contrary essences at the same time and place, even though they may have the same spring. Which means one of the two is not present here. Do I have to tell you which one that is? About mastering the game. How does one know they have mastered it? Does someone else tell them? See, if the quote, master, is not really a master yet he acts like one, it will mean he will make errors. He will have flawed thoughts and act accordingly. People will start listening to him and adopt the flawed opinions and way of living. Eventually he will do more harm than one bloodline actually has the power to do personally. Hence why, quote, leaders have been created for you who, quote, have mastered their game. Jesus of Nazareth is a nice example. He was created. This human has many worshippers and they have murdered in his name and still do. For instance, George W. Bush. Jesus of Nazareth was not a master of the game. He was a puppet being used in the game, and he still is serving the agenda among you. So you might think you are saving as many as you can like him. But are you really? How would I answer the question, what do you do when you have mastered the game? Checkmate.
Is Earth a prison?
Yes, and even worse. The ones who believe the contrary will never escape.
Why, oh why would an alleged member of a quote, elite family waste one minute minute of their time or give credence to the cesspool that is godlikeproductions.com?
Bloodlines are not robots who all act the same. You are confusing the ones who you think control you with others.
Now on the population reduction. We have a few brewing like AIDS. However, it has been my feeling that the release of a bioweapon will be in a timely fashion cloaked in chaos from another event. What say you on that?
There is no plan to reduce the population that is fully in the hands of the people. However, certain events have been seen as just that while they are serving another purpose. A misconception. Just because it comes across like population reduction does not mean it is exactly that. Really, if the goal was population reduction, it would have been done a long time ago in a span of a few weeks. In fact, the opposite is more true in most areas on this planet. What you say could happen, but it would be done by the ones who control the lower areas. The ones up higher do it through the daily items you consume.
Was Yahweh an extraterrestrial negative entity? Or was he a fiction invented by the Jewish fantasy factory during the time the Greeks ruled Palestine?
If the name of an entity is public, it means it is fabricated. Yahweh used to represent an age where mass control was taking shape.
Ah, so Mormons are the only ones who are barking up the right tree. Authority and all that.
No.
Don't you get sick and tired of the lack of real equality in the music and the movies? With your power and money and influence, why do you not prime the pump with some really good stuff?
The ones who search hard will find the gems in music. In fact, they are out in the open. It is not our duty to enlighten you, that is yours. We hand out the tools that can be used in the way you choose to, quote, good or bad.
What are the 3 things that have you concerned about most regarding the upsetting of the apple cart? By this I mean things that are beyond the direct control of the powers that be that you are scrambling to prepare against.
Nothing to do with us, but with the puppets.
Who owns and runs the show on planet Earth? Please list the major player groups who actually answer to each successive level beginning from the top down. Descriptions are fine if you don't want to divulge names. Is it like a pyramid, or is it a number of factions vying for power and control?
The shape of a pyramid, yes. But people forgot the underground chamber. The top of the pyramid is not the top.
What do you fear the most?
Fear is based on physical impulses. The physical is not important.
My full-blood Italian maternal lineage traces back to King Charles I, Charlemagne but by name, Count Dotti, who was the captain of the archers for Prince Philippe, King Charles IV, and who was part of the coup to secure the quote, secret, from the Merovingians in the Knights Templar. I won't discuss the secret, which I am sure of, but I don't understand why you operate in the fashion that you do and I operate in the fashion that I do, and as a result. This does not mean that I am of any particular bloodline that is part of the ultimate that you speak of, but my life is far more progressive than anyone that I know scientifically and professionally regardless of the economy. And I do see the quote, illusion, all around me. Explain this, please.
I have explained it a bit. Your lineage is not what you think it is. Charlemagne, like other quote, kings, merely played the flute, like his descendants do now in politics especially. However, if there are traces of the lineage within you, and this goes deeper than just blood and genes as you know, then obviously you will understand your surrounding better than others. There are people who are directly linked and they will act differently.
Do you think inside that this current battle is in two stages? Now, on the etheric, and 1,000 years from now, on the astral, once all the hard people have dropped their physical bodies and have graduated to higher life forms, the next being the astral. Then, the whole show starts all over again, with different players.
You are confusing a few matters. There is just one struggle, and it is now, here on this planet and on a personal level. Meaning you only. There is no enemy you can attack except yourself. If you are busy attacking something else, you are wasting precious energy and you will fail. If you succeed, there will be no struggle anymore.
You state that we have the tools to work with. Can you tell us some of them, something to work with so we may free ourselves? You agree that we are on a prison planet. I thought more like a zoo, where we are being observed and studied. But if we are on a prison planet, then I must understand that we truly have no free will. Correct?
The tools are in your hands, around you, everywhere. It is even being drawn out of you. It is your duty towards yourself to reveal them to yourself and then do as you please with them. There is always a consequence. Prisoners still can determine what they do in their prison with the tools that were provided to them. They can decide how to walk in the yard, how to talk, think. You have free will, therefore you suffer and are aware of your suffering.
Why give me tools to escape a prison? Sounds counterproductive to what a prison is for. I have known that the powers that be are puppets moved around by hands that we cannot see, nor may ever see, but why make them look and act seemingly stupid or at the least illogical? Are you wanting a revolution? What you are saying is that the war is within, not without, though the powers that be seem to want us to think it is without. Why distract us? What is it that they don't want us to accomplish? Freedom? And yes, I am reminded every day of my suffering.
We are neutral and doing our duty, which many times comes across as being negative. If you observe closely, you will see we merely spreading the tools which can be used by you to free yourself or chain yourself, your choice. The divine law has a purpose for you and it is not on this planet. Proof you are worthy again to be released. The distraction is part of that. It is about knowing who is and who is not. The ones who support any of these known faces are failing.